for the day. The final match of the day, and the picks and bans are already on the way. Hanoi for Lewis, banning out Annie, Lissandra, Maokai, Alpha Ultimate banning out LeBlanc, Ari, and Victor. All mid lane bans, so saying SOFM, you're not gonna have your hands on any of those. And the first pick Rek'Sai away from Hanoi for Lewis. I really like that. Tarzan definitely was such a beast, and Alpha Ultimate definitely know how to play around that.
And APU, the hacker, wasn't not too impressive in the previous game. It looks like they were hovering over it, considering going for it once again, but it looks like they will be securing the Janna Corki for themselves in the first rotation. So this time Hanoi will lose. They have the Rek'Sai for themselves. I have to say Tarzan in the previous game showed up big on this champion, and now is on the hands of King of War to make something happen out there. I have to say King of War on the Pantheon looked like absolutely miserable.
It was just very, very strange from him, right? Since they're taking their time to the picks, we can go over this a bit more. He had the level 2 gank, burnt a lot of summoners, never revisited that lane, went top instead for kind of, you know, a very awkward dive, plus it was a Hecarim without a flash, so you can't burn anything.
Blew his own flash as well.
Blew his own flash, and as a Pantheon, you know, you can have some of that early aggression, but then after you've done that, just go for your level 6 as quickly as possible, and that wasn't something we really saw from King of War.
So it is going to be the role reversal. This time Hecarim, Rek'Sai available for Hanoi Fu Lewis. Securing the Morgana pickup here. It's kind of a flex pick, can go into the mid lane, can go into the support role. We have to see what Alpha Ultimate will be going for in this case. Asriel together with the General Corki. Double AD carry composition against Morgana, Rek'Sai. Somewhat okay, but with the Hecarim available for them, I don't think going for double AD or any form of siege composition should be advisable. Hovering over the Rumble over here, Alpha Ultimate might want to have a little bit more team fighting presence, because that seemed to be their problem in the previous game.
Yeah.
They would win the Baron, have a 10,000 goal lead, but they would still lose the fight to Hanoi
Sure.
Fu Lewis.
Right, you are, and Ness is one of those few players in the Greener Premier League that has played a fair amount of Rumble, at least on our stage. No records on their solo queue or individual plays on their own, but in terms of the GPL stage, he has played quite a bit of Rumble. Sion he actually has not brought out according to my statistics, and racking my mind, I believe those to be correct. So Sion gonna be very, very new for Ness in terms of bringing it to the GPL. Tarzan's Rengar, however, he did have a fantastic breakout performance before. The first time he brought it out, 5, 3, and 10. And as I was discussing with Chris, you know, we cast that series, it really made Alpha Ultimate look a lot scarier, because on top of their team fighting around objectives, it gave them this kind of pick/assassination flavor, and that made them much more scary for their opponents.
I mean, we saw Fu Lewis hovering over the Katarina there for a few seconds. Well, up against Rengar, Janna. Not necessarily the best case, and the Zerf in this case. Not sure if they locked that in, but against the Sion as well as Rengar is saying that we are just confident enough that we will be able to do with your hard engage, even going for this Zerf with Zed open, LeBlanc's open, Diana is even open in this case, and they still went for the Zerf. So for Lewis, once again, SOF, I'm saying, it's okay guys, I've carried myself, top 40 challenger, solo queue, Zerf locked that in for me. Learning from Faker.
Yeah, might honestly be a response to the game 1 focus, which was, you know, dive SOFM, dive SOFM, dive OSM. Why not pick, you know, the longest siege range AP champion out there, Zeref, saying if you want to come into my backline, you're gonna have to go as far back as, you know, as my range, and that's gonna be quite difficult. I mean, yes, Rengar with his ultimate might be able to do that, but Sion, I mean, he's usually a bit more, you know, bash through all the members than get to the backline, and this last pick will reveal how exactly Alpha Ultimate feels about that. I mean, Ezra will be able to bring a decent amount of poke, and of course his ultimate will just, you know, hit everybody on the side of Hanoi for Lewis, but
so they did go for double
quite interesting.
AD against Hanoi for Lewis. So this is, as you said, it's very interesting, because when you have double AD, you want to be playing that against a team comp with very gimped wave clear, with the team that can't really engage into you, something that's trying to play that gets a little bit too greedy on assassins or something like that. And in this case, for Lewis, they have the Zeref for the wave clear, they have the Hecarim for the hard engage. Rek'Sai is a little bit iffy in these cases, because he doesn't have the most reliable engagement. But nonetheless, we have to see how these two teams decide to play it out against each other.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Fu Lewis are going to be going for that very head-on clashing style that we saw in the previous game as well.
I do worry for Alpha Ultimate though, in the sense that they don't have really that much disengage. I know we call Janna the queen of disengage, and sure, she still has the Monsoon, but if you look at it, if the Rek'Sai or the Hecarim just chooses to engage, I mean, the double 80s have to scatter. They have to back off. That leaves, you know, Sion, who doesn't have a dash or anything. He usually kind of buys time for his team to fight around him. And I think we'll see how exactly Phat Ultimate works around that. You know, do they use that Sion as that meat shield to buy time for the double 80s to, you know, reposition? Or do they just try and fully disengage? And I think if they go for the latter, if they just say, you know, everybody back off, rather than trying to, you know, maneuver and position and kite around the team fights, they're not going to have a good time of it, really.
So now Lewis with the Hecarim Rek'Sai, they will be on the blue side, but here we see spawning on the right side. As we approach Summoner's Rift, we have the blue side. Hanoi Lewis, come on Obi, don't throw me like that. And moving over to the alternate tab. There we go.
Wow. Just as I'm back
to
on
us.
camera, as I'm also just out of my suit, this is extremely warm on camera.
Hands down, suit off.
Ugh.
Whatever analogy, whatever metaphor you want here, we have to cast us. You got us. You got us. And now into Summoner's Rift again. Welcome to Summoner's Rift displayed across the screen. Hanoi Lewis spawning on the blue side. And
Phat
Ultimate
on the red side.
on
yes.
the red side.
A little bit of a technical glitch right there. And yes, it is rather warm if you're joining us live at the stadium, so do forgive me for removing my suit.
Off the aircon.
I know, it's because we've been sitting here for quite the extended series of games. Guys, if you've joined us all the way from the beginning, we do thank you. Each game has been on average, I think, J-Storm, about 40 minutes or so, right? So a little bit longer than your average standard fare of, you know, professional League of Legends games. And we'll have to see. I mean, I'm sure the teams themselves maybe a little bit tired after that game number 1. There were a lot of kills. Very, very bloody game. We'll have to see how quickly either of these teams closes it out, or whether or not it devolves into a more extended brawl.
So we have Phat Ultimate on the right side. We actually see the Jenna taking a little bit of recall over there, deciding to swap up the trinket in that scenario. So now Lewis just trying to get some poke down once again. The SOF extremely aggressive in this laning phase. I wonder if we will be seeing the same type of performance on the Xerath as well. So Flamus, run me through the laning matchup between Xerath and Ezreal.
Well, of course, Xerath has that incredibly long range with his Q, so he has that ability to hit all of the minion wave as well, so he can push Ezreal under the tower. And that's pretty much, well, or rather, that's one of the abilities or the strengths that Xerath has over Ezreal. Now, Ezreal on his end doesn't have to work around cooldowns. He can actually bully around with his auto attacks, or can work around the cooldown windows provided by Xerath, dropping, you know, his Q basically being on cooldown. He has much shorter cooldowns on his Qs, does Ezreal, and his auto attacks hurt that much more as well.
So we actually do see Nas going forward right at the start, committing suicide to it and then using the passive to pick it up very easily and then teleporting back to the lane itself to face off against Shin. That's going to give him his level 2, and Raw the Slayer is going to help him bully out the top lane. How well do you think Hecarim is going to fare against Sion in the top lane?
Oh, I have to be honest, I have not seen this matchup for myself, Hecarim versus Sion. Have to imagine it's just a bit of a trade-off. Sion has that very, very annoying harass though, let's not forget about that. Can knock the minions into you at a very, very low mana cost and just harass you down. So I do think that if Ness uses that ability with discernment and precision, he will be able to lower Hecarim and keep him away from that Q spam, but overall it should be a pretty, you know, back and forth, just CSing quite even. So
actually in the middle lane, we did see Imba just poked on SOFM really, really low in the early stages of the game, and now that is going to force SOFM to base much earlier, and that's created a very nice CSC for Imba over there, so King of War. Clearing out the Raptors, we have to see where will be the first round of action for both junglers.
Alright, so it looks like SOFM himself is having the lane game being taken to him. Overall doing a fair job, keeping the minion wave away from the turret and not having them sacrifice themselves, so matching up nicely to Imba's Ezreal. Ooh, B1 actually getting caught right here.
Some damage coming in from a good duck binding from Starfall, just counting it out and knowing that B1 will be blocked by the minion in the position and landing a fantastic duck binding to win that trade for Hanoi Lewis. I mean, once again, Hanoi Lewis we see them taking a slight goal lead. This is where they are strong. The laning phase, they just do so well in these stages of the game. They're able to find these small advantages, and they just tend to get the goal lead. But when it comes to the middle stages of the game, this one Phat Ultimate, they show cerebral power, where they are able to make the right calls and out-rotate their opponent.
Yeah, it's definitely the shot calling on the side of Phat Ultimate that is their calling card to their success in GPL so far. Although Tarzan, of course, in game number 1 with a fantastic score of something like 13 or 16 something 13, definitely showing that he has the mechanical and playmaking prowess of his own. But he's not on that Rek'Sai anymore. He's on that Rengar. And his style, as we've seen from at least the first time he played it, is hit one lane just once, and then from that little H he gets power up to that level 6, and then really start ganking very, very heavily. So it looks like his lane of choice this time around is that Hecarim, and I fully agree with that. No flash on this Hecarim. Take him out early before he becomes a problem.
I mean, definitely camping out the lane. Doesn't have the flash, but here comes Tarzan. He flashes forward. He gets the lockdown, and that is first blood going over to Phat Ultimate.
Fantastic. Jumps over to the minion, then flashes over the minion block, just giving the Hecarim no time to even activate his E right there, right? So that was just fantastic play from Tarzan. Do you think we should see him just powering up to level 6 after that? Ooh, a great Phosphorus Bomb right there, chunking Violet as well as Starfall very, very low.
Exhaust was blown in the trade, so Lewis coming out slightly worse for the wear in that one. And now with the minion wave being pushed in there, I do believe B1 as well as Tier will be able to capitalize slightly over the missteps coming from Lewis.
Yeah, especially after the changes to the Corki missile speed a few patches back. It's actually been fun as a caster to see whether or not that's gonna hit. It moves a little bit slower, a little bit like tennis when they play on different court surfaces. It's like sometimes the ball goes so fast you can't keep track of it. That was what I felt like the Corki bomb was last time. It's like boom, it just comes out of nowhere, even after they gave it a trajectory speed. So I actually like the slower speed a little bit just from the viewer's perspective. Of course, I'm sure as the player you go like, man, this feels so slow. But overall, the pros seem to be adjusting to it, no problem whatsoever. Oh wow, SOFM super aggressive.
There we go, 1, 2, that's the third one. Len is here, able to get it flashed away by Imba. Mevio, SOFM comes short, just barely, of getting the finishing blow on that one. I have to say though, this is the killer instinct that we all know SOFM by, the super yellow play. As the Seraph, you wouldn't expect it, just flashing over the keep, landing the stun, and then following it up with the full combo.
Yeah, that was very, very impressive from SOFM, just in terms of his decisiveness right there. As you said, no hesitation whatsoever. And of course, maybe the Ignite should have been a little bit of a clue or a hint to us. A lot of Zerefs, playing that long range. Oh, here we see King of War coming from the back, giving the Phat Ultimate squad a bit of the taste of their own medicine. If you guys can remember from game number 1, that exact same tunnel route was used by Tarzan himself. So B1's probably be like, hey Tarzan, what's... Oh, hang on, that's King of War. We don't have Rek'Sai on our squad right now. That's the wrong Rek'Sai.
Kind of a surprise gank coming from King of War, getting the dunk down with the B1, but as we head over to the top lane, here we see the horse in the top lane. This time, I'm kind of surprised because both teams have elected to play the horse in the top lane, and they haven't fared too well for themselves. And once again, Tarzan coming in onto show. So this one, he has the ultimate available for himself. So not really sure if this is the best decision. Uses it to run away. The unstoppable charge coming in from Nest. The unstoppable onslaught coming in and doesn't connect just yet. Initial D, as I like to call it, drifting into the wall.
That was a rather cute series of events with basically 4 ultimates activated. You had the Rek'Sai ultimate, the Hecarim ultimate, the Rengar ultimate, and the Sion ultimate, all burnt for absolutely nothing. So the most anti-climatic Quadra ultimate series yet.
Do you know, when you play Sion, if you shout when you use your E, it actually does more damage?
I've been told that. I've never actually experienced that for myself. I think I'm a bit too...
try it, man.
I think I'm a bit too calm of a Sion player. Maybe that's why kills escape me, My Sion just doesn't seem to be very effective.
Especially at 1 AM, middle of the night. Gonna shout really loudly.
Whoa, look at that. Violet actually takes out B1 at the bottom. Sorry, folks, we missed that. Looks like, whoa.
Whoa, close one there.
Man. Imba.
It's not so Imba after all.
Yeah, trying to land that Imba ultimate, not finding it though.
Now as for FM, just look at the CS deficit that's growing in the mid lane. Imba, he felt really smug about himself getting SOFM to base early, but there we go. The Seraph just being an absolute lane bully, but here comes King of War in the top lane. Nas might find himself in a little bit of trouble. Here comes Shin as well, but it's a little bit low. Starfall misses the Dark Biting and there has no ultimate available to himself. He's gonna be kicking himself down. The slow had landed. The pushback had landed, but the Dark Biting couldn't. Oh, did he steal it?
He gets
SOFM steals the blue buff away, just showing us who's the boss over here.
You know what? You know what, J-Storm? We have to see how the team fights go.
That's true. That's
because
true.
I do not want to see SOFM flash forward and use his ultimate like left and right and like what's going on here. But in the top lane, we do see King of War visiting after Ness's flash has already been burnt, so a good job by him to, likewise have quite a strong showing on the Rek'Sai so far. Already picking up or helping to pick up 2 kills for his team. And overall, it seems like Hanoi Fulu is once again in this early phase, you called it, or the the laning phase. They're doing a fantastic job. I mean, it's only about a 600 gold lead, but the opportunities that they're finding, very, very crisp, very, very aggressive. It puts that respect, or I'd go so far to say even fear, in your opponents, where again, SOFM was made to base early. Imba's like, I totally got this lane. SOFM comes back and absolutely smashes him with, unexpected aggression, and now he's again at, 100 CS at 10 minutes in. That is just fantastic CS coming out from SOFM.
Under 10 CS a minute. If you don't count the first minute and a half, SOFM just taking all the farm around the map. In fact, taxing his jungle a little bit, picking up the bonus CS for himself. He's definitely going for the records over here in the GPL. But meanwhile, Violet in the bottom lane. Starfall was roaming a lot, so that's going to give Violet a nice level advantage in the bottom lane, and the solo kill that he got as well. Definitely very helpful to the Graves in the bottom lane. Rather slow game at the moment. Rek'Sai as well as Ranga hitting into the bottom side of the map. That could be rather explosive. And looking at the items completed, they're gonna be going for the double Trinity Force on the Corki as well as the Astro. And when those are completed, that's when Phat Ultimate will be looking to make something happen. SOFM just trying to predict Imba's movements out there, throwing out the shocking up. If he had connected that would have been forced to blow his plan. Oh, farm alarm, or is this something much more aggressive? And turns out it's gonna be. Oh, there we go. It's the bottom lane.
Oh,
Violet is gonna be falling as Tarzan just jumps onto him. There is the Rengar gank. Super effective. But here comes the response for King as well into the top lane. Shin dodges out this charge as well as the smash from Ness. And there we go. 2 more auto attacks from Shin will be able to finish him off. And once again, this cap in the top lane has been working out for himself. This horse is going to be growing bigger and bigger. But for Ultimate, faster the response. They will be going for this one. Imba tries to get executed SOFM, but here comes Starfall SOFM. He does get the third shot onto him. Very interesting use of the Ultimate, and he gets the kill onto Imba in the mid lane.
Imba almost pulling out the 1v1 right there, but SOFM knew he had the backup. A huge series of events, so let's just recap for our viewers what exactly went on. King of War hits top lane along with Shin. They managed to take down Ness. That was the first thing that happened. The immediate response from Phat Ultimate to get the dragon, seeing the jungler of the opposing team top side. And then in the middle, we saw somewhat of a 1v1 between Imba and SOFM. SOFM going even beyond the tower, knowing he had the backup of Starfall right there, and eventually picking up the kill on Imba. So, Tarzan starting to heat up a little bit though. I mean, yes, it's only 2 kills so far. But this is his style on the Rengar, right? After hitting, a lane pre-6, then he just goes full, burns his ultimate as soon as he can to pick up a kill. And you can see the way he plays as well. Not afraid to use his flash on top of his ultimate to get that 100% lockdown. Very, very aggressive.
A 34 CS lead in the mid lane. This is an Ignite Seraph that we are looking at here in the GPL. Ignite Seraph from SOFM is just... There's just some insane stuff here. I mean, we were kind of questioning the Seraph pick over here, but turns out it works perfectly fine for him. In fact, it's going to be happening more. The long range coming in. He picks up Tarzan as well. King of War getting the last bit of damage. It stunted Imber as well for some bonus star points.
SOFM definitely having a much better game on this Seraph. I want to say it's due to the fact that, he's on a champion that has obviously more range to work with. And I think it's partially that. But I think it's also just partially the fact that he's had a bit more backup this time around, right? You see King of War going into the jungle to kind of provide a little bit of flank, a bit of forward vision. Then you have Starfall backing him up when he wants to go between towers. Whereas in the past, it was, you know, a lot of Unfought Ultimate members charging towards and locking down SOFM, and very, very little backup from his team. And I think this is something that teams who watch Hanoi Fuluis play with SOF in the mid lane should take note of, you know, that SOFM, whatever character he's going to be on, you know, if he's playing aggressive, and you got to be aware that his teammates might be there to back him up, you know. It's not always consistent though, right? In game number 1, it wasn't there. But in this game number 2, he's had a lot of help from his team.
And this is where the truth has started. Because this is where the auto tower start to go down, and where Fuluis, they will have to start to play as a team. So they're going to be exiting the laning phase once again as
Second blue buff stolen.
Stealing away the blue buff. Unfought Ultimate, they have to be feeling really frustrated at the moment without being able to hand the blue buff over to the mid laner or even secure it by their own jungler.
Yeah, but it's interesting how Tarzan hasn't hit SOFM in the mid lane, and that's honestly due to the fact that even if Tarzan gets the lockdown on him, Ezreal, with his build and as mid Ezreals do, they honestly don't have a ton of burst damage unless you get the ultimate down as well, and that's a bit of a stretch. Tarzan actually using his ultimate right here for an unknown purpose, it seems. No kind of aggression able to be activated bottom side, so that's a very, very costly ultimate. Long cooldown on that. Maybe preempting for a strong push coming out from Hanoi Fuluis on this bottom tier 1. But nevertheless, quite an awkward usage of that ultimate.
Here's the thing about Rek'Sai against Rengar. Tremor Sense will be able to spot out the Rengar.
That's right.
When his ultimate is on.
Yeah. I love how it's like that.
I mean, blindness is no weakness against a spelling enemy.
Yeah, you still can't see the champion, but you see the tremors. And like, he's here.
The purple sickles on the ground, they're running towards me.
That's gotta be a glitch. There's no champion. Like, yeah, it's Rengar. So, towers, as you said, J-Storm, starting to fall. Hanoi Fuluis are the ones that are getting those down, of course. Bottom side being the only one that is still relatively healthy and remaining. And Inba, he's not having too good a game. 16 minutes plus, usually when the Trinity Force is picked up. Not to say the least for B1. I mean, 16 minutes is actually, you know, a little bit later than usual. Of course, there's the tier in there for Inba to set him back that little bit. But B1 honestly has no excuses, or have to say, rather to put it in a more, you know, real way. He's been killed twice, so that's held him back a little bit. And that means that this power spike that Unfought Ultimate we're hoping to get from the double AD with the Trinity Forces will be very, very late.
Very aggressive group up in the top side of the jungle once again. Violet not anywhere near the Fuluis team as they're making aggressive plays. It's going to be bad for themselves, but looks like they will be able to steal this raid buff away. King of War sniping it down. Unfought Ultimate, now they feel a little bit corralled into the defense of their own turret.
Yeah.
Second tier turret, hiding behind that, picking up the shoes from it.
And there's a decent siege slash, you know, just, yeah, siege potential coming out from the Morgana as well. I really like that pick coming out from Hanoi Fuluis. It isn't something that's too all in, like say Leona. Oh wow, King of War actually picking off Tarzan right there with the help of Starfall. But definitely with the Zerf long range and the ability to follow up on Dark Bindings. Wow.
Just nice the Astra, but SOFM in a little bit of trouble right now. Imba tries to go for it, but he flashes over the wall. Dodges to the side, drops the ultimate down, and gets the execute out to SOFM.
My goodness, this I like to see, right? Imba, the new kid on the blocks, like, you know what? I had your number, SOFM, early on. You can make a bit of a comeback, but if you're gonna go that aggressive, you know, be prepared, man. You have to, you know, J-Storm, you have to be ready to give as much as you can take. And SOFM certainly was not ready.
I mean, SOFM is the only player I see tower dive people as a Seraph. We saw it once earlier, was off screen. He tower dived until he was between turret. He had to call Starfall for backup, and he tried to go for it once again. Just walked down the turret, ignited his opponent, and tried to go for a very ballsy tower dive.
You can see kind of the ridiculous thought process, which was, oh man, I missed my shocking orb. I must ignite him. The dive must continue. Oh man, I'm not sure exactly what was running through SOFM's mind, but that was ridiculously, you know, over-aggressive. No backup whatsoever available to him, and he still decides to go for that. King of War, though, just soloing out Dragon like it's nobody's business. Certainly isn't Unfought Ultimate. Even
Oh, he finds stars and doesn't get him. He tries to chase after Bola Strike, does slow him down, however. But look at the level difference between junglers right now. 3 levels, 11 on King of War and 8 on Tarzan. But Tarzan might find Shin over here. Is the backup gonna be on time? Shin doesn't fall to the Astral ultimate. Impa tries to come in. Is he able to get one last thing onto Shin? He is still alive, but he does fall to Ness again. Here comes the Zerf ultimate. Where does the second and third shot go? Is gonna be going for Astral instead. Impa dodging out both shots of that one. Fulu is a little bit slow to the response. King of War getting a little bit too aggressive. And Alpha ultimate, they get a free pick off in the jungle.
Alrighty, so Anfat Ultimate successfully defending their turf. And Hanoi Fulu is showing some, I don't even, it's not uncharacteristic, it's very, very characteristic Fulu aggression. But, you know, with all the attention topside, looks like Violet was able to push this wave in, and they have finally removed the last of the tier 1 turrets on the side of Anfat Ultimate. And the push should continue. Again, with the Rabadon's death cap as well as the Morellos picked up at 20 minutes, SOFM is still a very, very strong force to be contended with.
Right now, Hanoi Fulu, they find themselves in a rather comfortable position. 5,000 gold ahead of their opponents. Baron has just spawned. This is when things started to kind of go south for the Hanoi Fulu squad in the previous game.
Yep.
Let's see if they will be able to learn from their mistakes and have a more coordinated approach towards these objectives.
I sure hope so. I mean, there really isn't an easy way for Anfat Ultimate to break out from a siege. The Rengar Ultimate will be the... There's basically 2 ways they can engage, right? The Scion and the Rengar. Rengar, obviously, there'll be the indicator above their heads to, you know, everybody be prepared. And that's why the Morgana pick, I think, is so clever, because you don't have to reposition yourself. Rengar will be jumping into your back line, and you can easily lock him down with Soul Shackles. And on top of that, if it's Scion rushing at you, it's kind of the same thing. You drag them into the Morgana range, and they have to go through the Rek'Sai knock-up, the artillery of Xerath, and then the Hecarim as well, who... It's just a lot of things to go through, and I don't even know if these 280 carries, only now, around now, completing their, you know, Trinity forces, will have the amount of firepower to break through the Rek'Sai as well as the Hecarim frontline.
Well, the Hecarim as well as the Rek'Sai, here's what's working for them. They're still not that tanky just yet. They went for Trinity Force as well as Tiamat. So that's going to be allowing Anfat also to be dealing a little bit more damage to these champions. But nonetheless, here's what's working in their favor. S2FM by for Ignite. Which means that the Xerath, who usually has to heal for additional health as well as
mobility,
or maybe a cleanse, or maybe even a barrier, he's not going to have that. It's the Ignite Xerath, which you got the Tower Dive feed.
SOFM, baby.
SOFM.
Alright.
Anything less than Ignite would not be SOFM.
Alright, so we'll have to see how exactly SOFM keeps himself alive in the fights. But of course, the armor's coming up huge on the side of Hanoi Fulu. We already see double Ninja Tabi for the front line as we were talking about. Shin has also picked up the Glacial Shroud, and it looks like the makings of Randuin's or Sunfire Cape for King of War. So the 80 carries, yes, Corki does a lot of magic damage. Yes, he's got Sorcerer Boots, but my goodness, they need a Last Whisper. And oh man, Imba!
There we go, Ultimate comes in, complete misses the first shot, the second one does land, and the third one will be trying to try and get some damage in. Not really sure where it lands, it does get some poke on Scion. Shin does zone out the Rengar. The smash doesn't land any knockup, however, and here comes the siege coming from Fulu with the mid laner down. B1 tries to flank from the side, but SOFM is there. Here comes Nas, gets the charge on the 2 people, knocks up onto much more. Starfall, only 1 man on the ultimate. Fulu is just cutting back and forth. They're trying to get this happening. SOFM still into backline. Fantastic ones to knock them away, but that Arcano Pulse will be coming up once again. They don't get B1. Now they're all gonna get the second turret.
Messy fight right there. No doubt about it. Imba dying in pretty much the most anticlimactic fashion. If you want, wasn't even a home guard's TP. It was really just Hecarim charging at him and then one shot of the Arcane Barrage right there.
Arcano Pulse. Arcane Barrage is...
sorry, yes. No, you're confusing me. Yes, basically the ultimate from Xerath. And from there, the 5v4 that broke out. Hanoi Fulu is showing some rather uncharacteristic constraint, actually, and not diving past the tier 2. And of course, saved by tears. This time, a very, very timely Monsoon. Had to flash for it, but did keep Ness alive. And that meat shield did deter any more forward aggression from Hanoi for Lewis.
So Fulu is starting to take control of the game, getting the second tier turret in the mid lane. We'll have to see what is the next objective that they will be going for. So Flavors, I have to consult you onto this one.
Yeah.
There's 3 things that Fluis can go for. 4 things actually. Dragon, we should be spawning in 40 seconds. The 2 silent turrets, bottom and top. And the 4th objective will be Baron Nashor himself. Which do you think Fluis should be going for?
Well, I think they're indicating to us right now, most likely they will go for the dragon and let Shin split push. If you take a look at the teleport, that's one mismatch right there, right? Ness will not be able to defend top as well as make it to the dragon fight. So Shin, if he pushes up the wave as he is right now, he's going to have a decent timing on it. There's still 10 seconds, so he's got a good window to push up the wave. And you can see how Ness is kind of stuck top, needing to deny that wave from crashing onto the tower. And of course, with the Triforce, Shin is very, very fast at taking down towers. So Shin can just TP down now if necessary. But if you look at the vision, it's not even going to be contested by Unfought Ultimate. So I think this is one of the signs that the game has fully tilted. If the 7,000 gold lead isn't any indication or a giveaway already, that the game has fully tilted in Hanoi for Lewis's favor, because Unfought Ultimate, as we saw from game 1, they love to fight around objectives and they look so sharp. If they're just giving them up for free, yeah, they kind of know their days are numbered.
So Fulu to go for the second dragon for themselves in that one. 4 turrets to none. Unfought Ultimate still trying to find their own foothold in the game. Now here's the thing, they fall so far behind in the early stages of the laning phase. They couldn't even find the opportunities to rotate around the map and play the favorite objective game.
Definitely, they just haven't been around the dragon whatsoever. I mean, they've gotten 1, which is, I have to think just a freebie because I can't recall which team fight that was, if any. But other than that, it's been a little skirmish here in the jungle, or a little skirmish in the lane there, and Hanoi for Lewis loves that kind of game.
Definitely this very skirmish heavy, random fighting style.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it random fighting because sometimes there's just
Lewis
absolutely no reason to fight in those spaces, and Full Lewis just engages anyway.
Sneaky King of War right here, using his Tremor Sense, saying, alright team, there's at least 2 of them up here, what kind of moves can we make? And immediately we see Violet going very aggressive.
Oh, Charles under a whole bunch of trouble. That's the 3rd one, led right up the arcade, misses the last shot, but King of War is there for the cleanup to Tiamat, giving the splash damage needed to take down the last bit of health on the Rengar.
I must say, that is some confidence coming in from King of War as well as SOFM. I mean, that was pretty much the only damage that SOFM could provide was his ultimate. He lands, I think, 2 out of 3 right there. And then King of War manages to finish off the rest. Now this is very aggressive.
Now in a little bit of trouble. Impa goes in onto him, but here comes the response from the hacker here. Tries to get a reset down, but Dark Binding finds him. And there we go. Shin is going to pick him up. King of War now on the chase. Look at this side. He is just so tanky right now. Tries to go on to Starfall. Starfall is surviving for a little bit of health. And now Hacker just turning around. Is he able to pick up B1? Valkyries away. King of War now fighting out with the Silence. Silence still trying to do whatever he can. And this should be his demise as he faces against 3 people, but never mind that, he does flash out of that one. But is she gonna continue to comment onto this one? Tarzan has respawned already.
The disturbing thing about that team fight, J-Storm, was that Unfought Ultimate lost it, and it was a 4v5. Well, no, to be fair, they had taken out Tarzan earlier, so it was a 4-on-4, but the AD carry, importantly, Violet, that consistent source of damage, wasn't there from Hanoi for Lewis, and they hardly looked phased. They were toying with the Scion, kiting him around, zoning B1 out just with the Hecarim. Hanoi for Lewis just making the team fights look very, very easy. And of course, when you're up 8,000 gold at 28 minutes in, that should be the case. Now, they really need to get some objectives though, because toying with your food in the jungle is fun and all, but it's not going to win you the game.
I mean, something that your parents always tell you, don't play with your food.
Oh yeah.
Kind of feels like Full Lewis is doing that exactly right now, but they're going to be going for the Baron right now. You have a good net of vision around the Baron area. Let's see if APU will be able to steal this one away. The Astral Ultimate, is he going to get it? No is the answer. Blue team stays Baron natural, but here we turn things around. Naz goes in, and here comes the Ultimate from Shin as well. Elsewhere and doing damage from the backlines. APU just kiting back and forth right now. They're on the kite away, just throwing all the poke at them. Astral, 2 shots, cocky with themselves, and here's the response from Hanoi Fooders. The poke coming from SOFM as well as Starfall with Dark Bindings.
That's right. Any person that gets locked down by the Dark Binding is going to get a shocking orb to the face, and that'll be lights out for them. Now, Phat Ultimate has a decent amount of long range there. They've got Ezreal to do that. They've got Orki as well. Might be a little bit hard for Hanoi Fluis to really crack into the base unless they find a pick or two or they manage to chain some CC together. As it is, Phat Ultimate, through the use of Winions, finds the top tower, their first one of the game, top tier 1. And they're still very, very far behind in this game. Hanoi Fluis, with the Baron buff, honestly should just group up, look for those picks, or just brute force their way onto the inhibitor turrets. I mean, that would be a very characteristic Hanoi Fluis thing to do. Just be like, everybody, smash into them.
Just group up and charge heat on Ignite on the Xerath. Why the hell not?
Why not indeed? Looks like they are pushing out bottom somewhat, maybe trying to get some side lane pressure as Shin does the same in top. You can only assume Violet's going back for his last whisper. No, actually picks up the Vamp Scepter and the just the longsword, so not quite completing the last whisper yet, but getting some lifesteal for himself.
So let's take a look at the trinkets over here. Oracle's Lance upgraded on both supports, kind of mirrored on both sides, just that the top laner Sion has upgraded his yellow trinket for himself. That's going to be giving them some additional wards around the map to secure some vision for themselves. So Full Lewis in this case, they're going to be starting up the siege. They have the burn buff grouping up in the middle lane right now. The question is only when are they going to pull the trigger to going on to Phat Ultimate. Or they could just wait for SFM to poke down Phat Ultimate.
We're just gonna wait for SM to dive tower. That's what's gonna
Ignite Sarah.
Well, they do
Dark Binding.
then Dark Binding on Tarzan. Just kind of stoning there.
Starfall just been chunked down so low, but here comes the altar from SOFM. Where is the shooting? I can't see, but Imba dropped down to about half health, but this close to the base, healing up shouldn't be a problem for him.
Alright, looks like we're going to be in for a little bit of a drawn out siege right here, but no, the rotation's actually coming up from Hanoi Fluis as they take down the tier 2 at bottom, which was prepped earlier. Very, very nicely done. Maybe they'll swing top. Nope, Dragon's up, they want to go for that.
Dragon number 3, still 2 away from the all-lethal 5 number. One Dragon is relevant to Phat Ultimate game, so that kind of explains why Hanoi Fluis is slightly slower on this Dragon, despite having such a strong commanding lead of the game.
King of 4 is getting pretty massive as well, especially against the double 80 competition. Has the Sunfire's cape, is going to be getting that Randuin soon. And is that a GA that'll be coming up from Shin? Very, very interesting.
I mean, it would make sense. I would like the GA if it does get it, because as a hacker, you're going to be the main source of engagement. You go pop all your spells, charge your opponent's backline, and you just want to be able to stick to your opponent's AD carry without worrying too much. And that's going to mean that you're usually going to fall, especially as the Astra and Corki start to scale up more. And if you have the GA, you're going to be buying the rest of your team so much time in order to take down the Sion as well as whoever else the APU shows at you.
Alright then, Phat Ultimate still able to hang on to a good amount of their structures despite the Baron pickup by Hanoi Fluis.
Baron next expired, so Phat Ultimate, they might try to make a play about now. 11,000 gold behind, they need to find a very good engagement and instantly take out the major damage sources on the side. But here's the problem, the King of War, 5-0 and 3 on the rack side. Even if they can take down SFM, even if they can take down Violet, the Rek'Sai himself is going to be a huge problem for Phat Ultimate to deal with. Especially if they lose maybe even say one or even both the damage sources in those team fights.
Randuin's has been completed by King of War. So that might just be the team fighting item Hanoi Fluis is looking to go off for. Thornmail also completed by Shin. So these guys definitely have the armor all stacked up as Shin gets a few taps onto the tower and then just runs away, no problem whatsoever. Giving his buddy Tarzan a bit of a wave right there, saying, "What's up, buddy?" and then zooming off.
So the Morgana seeking to build that, drawing a hourglass for herself, requiring to build a Seeker Samgar. Completed already the Needless Large Rod, so a little bit of snooze over here, but now Fulu is finally, once again, they've grouped up. King of War, you're still pushing the bottom lane, so not really sure what Fulu they're trying to achieve here, going 1-2-1. First, they're just going to be waiting for the next turn and using that to secure the game for themselves. Not much fun of hanging around and grouping up too much for too long. But here comes the major ultimate. Nas goes in, but the Black Shield and SFM is good. But Tarzan comes in as well. The burst damage from SFM isn't gonna be enough. He comes in, Akino Pulse. But here comes King of War from the backlines. He gets one. He gets to Shin with the ultimate. Takes down Graves as well. So just trading back and forth, 3-for-1 right now in the FIFA HFL. Are they gonna get any more? Nas now, the very tanky Siren, one last auto attack, he does fall. Violet does draw the turret aggro, and now the only member left is gonna be the Janna. Nas trying to use the passive, dealing as much damage as possible, but Hanoi Full to break through the base of your opponents. Are they gonna go for a game? They might try for it. 13 seconds onto Tarzan. Lots of gold in the favor of Hanoi Full. Shintan kept the tower a little bit. King of War eating a little bit for himself as well. There's one Nexus Star down. Are they gonna get Nexus Star number 2? 3 seconds on the Tarzan comes out. Are they gonna get it? Had half health right now. Here comes in with the shield. Full is gonna back away. SOFM even under 50 health right now.
Alright, what a chaotic turn of defense right there. The ultimate activated by both Tarzan and Ness. You know, as we were talking about somewhere in the...
Astra ultimate doesn't catch anybody. Nope, doesn't catch anyone.
Does not catch anybody. And as we were talking about, you know, at some midpoint of the game, the engage coming out from...
King of War. 3 people onto him. Let's see if he will be with us. Tunnel is not available for him, and he's going to be surviving this one. 3 seconds until it comes up, and nope, Raw the stay just picking up. It is the shutdown goal. And now with this window of opportunity, Phat ultimate, they need to pick up the Baron. Baron has respawned 5 against 4. Kind of now or never. They need to make one of those super YOLO plays to try and get back into the game.
Shin is in the top side though, and that's definitely something that will deter the members of Phat ultimate. Tunneling themselves into the Baron area with the Hecarim ultimate is a sure recipe for disaster. But you know, back again to that point on why exactly that team fight just went so
Hang
badly.
on to that, because here we go. Phat ultimate, they corral 2 members of Hanoi Full. Trap them up at the top side of the map, but do they have enough damage? But here comes Shin with the charge. Ness comes in from the back, they pick up the Morgana, and now they turn onto the Hecarim himself. Impa just dropped them way too low. Vada comes in from the back, collateral damage, doing so much damage, but the knockaround Scion isn't good enough. And Serpent comes in, and one shot! It's gonna be 4 kills. Does he get it? No!
Violet
Steals the Penta away, but I have to say that Flash Arcano Palms just melted down Phat ultimate with 1 single shot.
My goodness, that was fantastic coming out from SOFM. I mean, there you have it, folks. Your Top 40 Korea Challenger plays for you right there. 1 Arcano Pulse, sweet decimation, getting 4 members, and Hanoi Full Lewis closing out the game at 36 minutes. Well won by them, 20-8, a commanding victory.
Well, SOFM on the 0. I have to say, I am impressed. Ignite. Yes. No one saw that coming, and I'm pretty sure Imba didn't see it coming as well.
Definitely did not. So SOFM with the rather triumphant re-entry, at least this game into the GPL. Hopefully he continues to perform this way and doesn't run into any kind of incursions or restrictions or bans or anything.
Let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it.
That's right. But not to take away from the entire team as well, right? Hanoi Full Lewis, they picked the composition that took away from Phat ultimate, right? They took away the Rek'Sai, they took away the Hecarim, and then they put the Morgana in there as well, which, you know, from the infographics we've been showing, is quite the contested pick. If it makes it out of the bans, it's nice to see a team that still remembers how to play around it. All right, folks. That makes it for the end of the games of today, but we do have the schedule for tomorrow. So what is on the schedule of games tomorrow, J-Storm?
So I'm going to be reading off the screen right now. For those of you who might be tapped out surfing Facebook or something else, ISG Legends against Aces Fate will be the first game tomorrow, followed by the Saigon Derby between Saigon Jokers and Saigon Fantastic 5. Both of these 2 games promising to be really explosive and exciting, especially the Jokers against Fantastic 5.
Definitely. That is one of my favorite matchup, of course, because the teams are so familiar with one another. That is all for tonight, and that is all for tomorrow as well. I mean, we've shown you all that is to come for tomorrow, and here we have finally wrapped up quite the long day of games, guys. We do thank you very much. Once again, it is J-Storm and Flavus signing off.